It was early April when the season began, full of optimism and promise. And though the Marlins had their struggles, there were moments to remember.
Oh, my goodness! Deep and gone! Gordon drives it right field and deep. Back goes Francoeur. Ball game! Rojas scores! Gordon wins it!
Today, the season comes to a close. It's a chance to reflect, with some milestones and history still in reach. Marlins and Phillies. Game 162 is on next. In Philadelphia for the last day of the Major League season, and every game in baseball starts in about 5 minutes. The Marlins and the Phillies getting ready to finish off what is a 3-game series. Miami, a doubleheader sweep yesterday, a chance to sweep a 3-game set. Hi everybody, Rich Waltz, joined today by Preston Wilson. And Preston, if you're not involved in a pennant race, you know, starting every game at 3 o'clock Eastern, kind of a bummer. But boy, has it worked out for the Marlins and for the Nationals, because D. Gordon is percentage points behind Bryce Harper on the last day for a batting title.
You have to admit, this is everything that Major League Baseball dreamed of when they put this into effect, to have all these games coincided at one time. So now you got races that are going on, and everybody's going to be looking from all their TV screens, checking their media devices, seeing what that other guy's doing. I know we're going to be doing it here.
We will, and we'll give you up to date. Bryce Harper will be facing Jacob deGrom, and of course, D. Gordon is leading off for the Marlins. Now, yesterday in a doubleheader sweep, Christian Yelich had a day and 2 games worth and pumped his average over 300. He had 8 hits.
Think about this. June 1st, Christian Yelich was hitting 222. He's over 300 now, and he put together a day yesterday that was just simply unbelievable. He found a hole everywhere you can. Hit some hard, hit some soft, but he got a lot of hits.
I can't believe you didn't mention the name on the bottom of that screen. He ties a Marlin record. Now, you did it over a couple of games, didn't you?
I did it over a couple of games, and the amazing thing is I didn't even remember it. They told me yesterday that Yelich tied your record, and I was like, what record? He didn't strike out that many times this year, but it's good to know that I was in that list, and Christian Yelich is definitely a deserving guy to be on it as well. And
Yelich at 302, obviously, is shooting for 300 here today. So we're watching D. Gordon, we're watching Christian Yelich, and we'll see if the Marlins can sweep the Phillies. Game 162. There still is a lot on the line. Florida is brought to you by Toyota. Let's go places. By Checkers, epic meals, epic deals. And by AutoNation. Save on over 70,000 vehicles now. Visit us online at AutoNation.com. A little break in the weather. It's a little warmer, maybe not as windy. Last night, yesterday afternoon was chilly. Fish didn't seem to mind. The Marlins swept the Phillies, and they go at it again. Final game of the series, final game of the season. Let's go down to Jessica Blaylock and check in on the field. Jess?
Well, Rich, with it being the last game of the season, we wanted to highlight some of the players' favorite memories from this year, but we also want to hear from Marlins fans. What are some of those great moments that stand out to you? Send us your tweets and emails using the hashtag Marlins Memories. You can send your tweets to @FoxMarlins. Those emails can go to foxmarlins@gmail.com, and you just might see your favorite memory featured in today's game. Guys?
All right, thank you, Jess. There's your weather. 60 degrees. Yeah, that has warmed up considerably. Cloudy and cool, but no rain, and that's a good thing, as the Fish will come to the plate in this orderly fashion for the final time here in 2015. JM Lexus brings you the lineup. D. Gordon, of course, in that batting race with Bryce Harper. That ball game, the Nationals in New York, is just about to start as well. Christian Yelich in center. Yelich at 302. We'll keep an eye on his average. Marcell Ozuna gets the start in right field. Justin Bour is at first base. Derek Dietrich in left. Casey McGee is start at third, with Martin Prado getting this day off. Tomas Talis, the catcher, Miguel Rojas at short, and Adam Conley will hit ninth. David Buchanan goes for the Phillies. The Marlins have seen him. He pitched well in a no decision in Miami. In his last 3 starts, he's been pretty darn good. And D. Gordon is in the box.
I love the fact that he's the first batter up when you got this type of thing on the line. Batting title. Let's go.
First pitch, Gordon smokes one to right. Deep to right. That ball's off the wall. Gordon around first. On his way to second. D. Gordon with a double to open his day on the final day of the season with the batting crown in the balance. How about that?
Well, you know right now in Washington, they got this. They're going to be telling Bryce Harper, hey, D. Gordon started off, but look at that ball inside, turns on it. First pitch of the game, drills it for a double. D's showing some pop lately as well.
Getaway day socks. He's got the high pants and the high stirrups, and here is Yelich. Bryce Harper is in the lineup. Remember, he didn't play in the second game of the doubleheader. He's due up third as that ball game is just beginning. Jacob deGrom is the starter for the Mets, though Harper has had some success against him. Yelich, a record-setting day. He was 8 for 9 in those 2 games. And Buchanan gets under his hands. The count is 1-2. This is one game where you actually need a calculator. So you can calculate D. Gordon's average with every hit. Now, Gordon with that hit hops up to 331, 6993. Bryce Harper is yet to hit in that ball game. The one thing to remember is that since Harper has fewer at-bats than Gordon does on the year, Yelich swings and misses, and he strikes out. Since Gordon has more at-bats, Harper can go higher or lower with each hit or each offer. There's more room to move if you're Harper, up and down. Phillies defense. It's brought to you by BMW. Aaron Ruff, Aaron Altair, Jeff Francoeur. In the infield, Al Franco, Freddie Galvis, Andres Blanco, Eric Kratz, Cameron Ruff makes the start behind the plate. Here's Ozuna. And Marcell takes in.
That strikeout to Christian Yelich, that was a really good changeup by Buchanan, and that's what he's been doing lately, much better than he did in his first few starts. He's locating pitches well. He's having the ability to put guys away. He was struggling with that in his first few starts.
Yeah, he had a really nice September. Obviously, we're into October, and the Phillies are hopeful that this 26-year-old can be part of the rotation moving forward. They're still taking open auditions for next year's starting rotation here in Philadelphia. Gordon at second, a leadoff double. And Buchanan misses away to Ozuna. Now, Martin Prado has played hard. He played both ends of the doubleheader yesterday. Had an enormous RBI triple to tie that first game. Miami would win it with 2 runs in the 9th. Ozuna cracks it to center. Altair is deep, and at the track he makes the catch. Gordon is on his way to third base, and he gets there. And so Prado has this game off, at least to start with. That put Ozuna in the 3 spot.
There's something in play that we also have to mention. The Phillies are trying to avoid being an 100-loss team. So this has some pride implications for them as well to be able to win this ball game. You don't want to be labeled as a 100-loss team.
Especially since it hasn't happened since 1961. Pete Buchanan taking over midseason, replacing Ryan Sandberg. Now Bohr got it off the end of the bat. It floats out into right center, and it's dropped. Jeff Francoeur battling the wind. This is a guy that early in his career won a Gold Glove. As it pop out of his glove, and Miami's on the board 1-0.
That play didn't look good from the start. It fooled him. It looked like he got off the end of the bat, and he didn't get a good judge on it. You see him, he got a late start, and now he's running, and when you're doing that, you're a little bit on your heels, stabbed at the ball a little bit, his head's moving, and that's a recipe for disaster as an outfielder. I've been there. That's not a good spot.
It is going down as an E9, so Bohr's at first, and here is Dietrich. So Miami's on the board. The Gordon double. After Buchanan got a pair of outs, an error by Jeff Francoeur. Dietrich 0 for 5 in the series. Slices one down the left field line, and it lands foul in the corner. All right, Preston Wilson, what's your scouting report on David Buchanan?
Buchanan is a guy that doesn't light up the radar gun, but he must move the ball around. He's got to hit his spots. He's got to locate just like he did on that changeup with Yelich, and saving the best for last. I think you're seeing David Buchanan get comfortable. You've seen him start to believe in himself as a major league pitcher, and it's showing up in his last few starts.
Yeah, 2.30 ERA in those last 3 starts. 1-1 to Dietrich. That one lifted foul and back into the seats.
I feel very fortunate because we're in a position to get to see these guys grow up in the big leagues. Well, we've seen guys like Derek Dietrich come into his own a little bit more. You've seen guys like Connolly and Nicolino believe that they're Major League Baseball players, and then the performance start to match. And I think the Phillies are starting to see that with David Buchanan.
Dietrich swings, misses. Ball dug out by Rupp. When we get back, we'll update you on Bryce Harper, who right now is in the box facing Jacob deGrom. D. Gordon with a doubles, 1 for 1. These two guys are dueling for a batting title, and their games are right up against each other. Bryce Harper is 0 for 1. He bounced back to Jacob deGrom, and so Gordon's lead at 3-3-1. Carry the decimals. There you go. Bryce Harper now at 330. Here come the Phillies. Freddie Galvis in their first, brought to you by JM Lexus. Aaron Altair, Kyle Franco, who homered yesterday. Darren Rupp, Jeff Francoeur, Andres Blanco, Eric Kratz, Cameron Rupp, David Buchanan hits ninth. And Adam Conley turns and fires a fastball that's hit in the air, right center field. And Yelich is calling and makes a nice running catch. That first pitch brought to you by Pinch A Penny. And Galvis, a fly ball into the gap. All right, defense. Preston Wilson, defense is all yours. It's brought to you by BMW.
Let's take a look at this Marlins defense they're throwing out there. Left field, Derek Dietrich, Christian Yelich is in center, Marcelo Zuna. Right field, Casey McGee gets to start at third. Miguel Rojas, D. Gardner, you guys up the middle. Justin Moore's at first. Tomas Telis is the catcher, and Adam Conley is on the mound.
Here's Eric Altair. Now, traditionally, in game number 162, Preston, the strike zone's a little bigger, and the hitters are swinging early.
Yes, that has been a long-known thing in baseball. I've had an umpire straight up tell me, I got to play in the catch, so be swinging. and yeah, so if it's anywhere in that whole batter's area, guys are going to be aggressive today.
Popped up, and Bohr is there, and he makes the catch, which, you know what, when you come to think about it, that could favor a guy like D. Gordon, because Bryce Harper has one of the best eyes and has some of the best plate discipline. And in a case like this, sometimes a walk, it isn't as good as a hit, but a walk can help you win a batting title. So if the strike zone's big and guys are swinging, I think that helps D. Gordon.
Oh, it definitely favors D. I mean, D's a hacker. He likes to go up there and swing the bat, and, you know, these days are built for guys like him.
4 pitches in, Conley has a couple of outs. Phillies are happy to get Miguel Franco back. He had a broken wrist. Was out almost all of September. Fouls that pitch back. He is one of the guys that I think the Phillies have identified has a future here. A young guy. They certainly, with all the changeover and the loss of the stars of yesterday, the Phillies are looking for guys that can be part of the next generation. 7 pitches from Adam Conley. 1-0 Miami. High above Philadelphia. Live shot there as the Marlins and the Phillies end 2015. Game number 162. D. Gordon has doubled. Bryce Harper is 0 for 1. Casey McGee gets a start at third, and he fouls a pitch off with Tomas Talis. Miguel Rojas also due up.
I've actually played in end-of-the-season games where you got fined if you took the first pitch.
That's predetermined in the clubhouse before the game starts.
Yes.
Buchanan's breaking ball is down low. Buchanan out of Georgia State. Right in downtown Atlanta. He's an Atlanta guy, 7th-round pick of the Phils. Had a nice rise in the minor league system, going 41-30 with an ERA 3.82.
He's a guy I look at. He doesn't light up the gun, but he looks like he knows what he's doing as far as changing speeds with hitters. That curveball he threw to Casey McGee, 77 miles an hour, threw a really good changeup to Yelich early. I saw the fastball at 90-91, and he seems to be able to use every area of the strike zone and incorporate that movement.
McGee, a hard shot up the middle. Blanco was shaded that way, and he gets the out. Second annual Taste of Miami returns to Marlins Park on February 18th. That's a Thursday. Marlins players and celebrity chefs will be sampling a variety of different flavors and cultures from Miami's top restaurants, wineries, and breweries. 1-877-MARLINS or go to marlins.com/taste of Miami. That is Platter Cam. It's something that we've developed here at Fox Sports Florida. The serving platter that the waiter or waitress comes out with. You pop it on, and you get a tour of the Taste of Miami. Talis fouls it back. The count is 1-1. Every catcher getting a start in this series for Dan Jennings.
Well, you have to reward those guys. I don't think people realize how much punishment those guys put themselves through putting on that catcher's gear. And it's not just the games that you see them playing. They catch a whole lot of bullpens, even when nobody's watching, especially now you got the call-ups in September. A lot of guys need work, and those guys have to do that work to catch them.
Talis pulls that one to first. Eric Kratz dropped the ball when he got there and then picked it right back up. And there are 2 outs. Now, on the telecast today, not only are we following D. Gordon, who has a double and has moved in the top of the batting race, Christian Yelich, who's shooting for 300, but it's Marlins memories. Hashtag Marlins memories if you've got one. Preston Wilson, yours from the 2015 season.
My standout moment, Marlins memory of the year, was D. Gordon's inside the park home run. Just seeing him fly around the bases and seeing the joy on his face when he got home and from his teammates, that is what I remember most.
There's a strike. TJ Rayburn is the home plate umpire. So the inside the Parker, that's your favorite, huh?
It is. I never hit one, so I'm living vicariously through him. I enjoyed it.
That one popped behind third. Galvis is there. I can't believe you never had an inside the Parker. All right, I got a little treat for you when we get back. 1-0 Miami.
scored 2. Dietrich scores. Ichiro scores. Gordon headed for third. On his way home. Relay. Got it. D. Gordon.
That was the Inside the Park, and that was Preston Wilson's favorite Marlin memory from 2015. If you're just joining us, D. Gordon saw one pitch and clobbered it off the wall and right for a double, and has moved on top of the batting race in the National League. Bryce Harper is 0 for 1, facing Jacob deGrom and the Mets. And Darren Ruff of the Phillies bangs one into left field. He'll settle for a single as Derek Dietrich gets it in quickly. So the Phillies have a leadoff man aboard. Fox Sports Sports is proud to team up with the Boys and Girls Clubs of America. Boys and Girls Clubs help young people reach their full potential as productive, caring, and responsible citizens through programs that promote character and leadership, education, healthy lifestyle. Visit foxsportsupports.com. Conley to Jeff Francoeur, and there's a strike. If ever there was a game made for Jeff Francoeur, it's this, the last game of the season. As free swinging a guy as you'll find. Amazing that he didn't swing there on a first pitch.
Jeff Francoeur has done himself such a service by the year that he's had. He may find himself back in the big leagues again next year. You know, when you're away for a while, when I say away, I mean out of the big leagues, sometimes it's hard to get back. But he found an opportunity, and he took full advantage of it this year.
And he doesn't get cheated. He has a mean rip there. You're right, because he was in the minor leagues almost all of last year. He did get a little taste of getting back to the big leagues. But to win a job with the Phillies, and he's had some big hits this year. Some of those have come at Miami's expense. And Conley buries a breaking ball. Francoeur swings right over it. The first out of the second. Now, Adam Conley's season is an interesting one. Conley, a terrific year in the Pacific Coast League, was leading the Coast League in ERA when he left. Got to the big leagues, pitched okay, and it was 3 starts ago that Chuck Fernandez and Dan Jennings sat him down and said, look, it seems like you're not going full bore right away. And Conley admitted that he was actually pacing himself. Swung on and missed by Andres Blanco. And so the game plan was, let's try this for one start. Go out, throw as hard as you can, as long as you can. And in the 3 starts in that strategy, well, now 20 innings, 3 earned runs, 19 strikeouts, and 3 walks.
Sometimes in order to let a guy's talent come out, you need to free up his mind. And I think telling him, don't worry about how long you go. Don't worry about pacing yourself or saving anything in the tank for later. Lay it out on the line. Whatever happens, we got guys in that bullpen that's going to pick you up. And I think it's let his full ability start to show.
There's a bouncer out towards Gordon. Out there, Rojas turn. That's a nifty double play. 4-6-3 on the double play. D. Gordon's coming up. He's already 1 for 1, and he's on top that batting race. One of the fun things about 2015, and it kind of surprised everybody when it happened, was D. Gordon dunking after a walk-off win early in the season. Here's Conley. April 10th against Tampa, D's first dunk. And that became a staple for a team that did have some nice walk-off wins at home. Conley fouls it at the plate, and it's 0-2. Of course, D. Gordon himself got dunked on by Martin Prado late in the season.
The fun thing to me was seeing who was going to be the guy to hold the backboard. Each time it was someone different. They would try to get someone to see who's the guy that actually holds up the rim.
It was always someone tall, I know that. Breaking ball misses low and in. I mean, they never had Donovan Solano or D himself holding the backboard up.
No, you got to have someone that, fits the bill.
Buchanan strikes out Adam Conley. All right, here comes D. Gordon. If you missed his at-bat in the first, Gordon wasted no time, jumped on a fastball, and lined it off the wall in right field. He started the day just a few percentage points behind Bryce Harper. Harper is 0 for 1. Harper tapped back to Jacob deGrom in his first at-bat. And so Gordon sits at 332. And he drives that one to right. That's deep. And it's gone! D. Gordon goes yard. Another step closer to a batting title. He's 2 for 2 with a double and a homer. Unbelievable.
I love it. I love it. It's so much fun seeing this happen, seeing him take this moment and take charge. Oh, this is awesome. And with a home run, are you kidding me?
Wow. And that is up to the minute. Ichiro, and every time D. Gordon reaches a milestone or comes close to setting history, it's Ichiro who is the last to greet him, and it's the most heartfelt, because many of these milestones that haven't been done for many years, or where there's 5 or maybe 6 guys that have ever done it, Ichiro is in every one of those lists.
It's an amazing thing to see and to have that guy in the dugout with you, because he's been there. He's done it all. So he has the appreciation for what you're doing and what you're going through. And it's got to be special for D, because, I mean, you got a guy who ranks in the top of a lot of categories in history for baseball, just with what he's done over his illustrious career. And to have him there cheering you on and getting that reaction is awesome.
Yelich pulls one foul. Now, Ichiro did have some advice in Tampa for Gordon, and his advice was rake first, which means swing. Don't go out with the bat on your shoulder. And boys, it paid off here with a double and a homer. Yelich cracks a sharp ground ball to second. Blanco gets it to first, and Christian Yelich is now 0 for 2. 2 pitches D. Gordon has seen. He's hit one off the wall and one over the wall.
And that last pitch that he hit the home run on, well, it was not a bad pitch. It was down and moving away, and he stayed with it and got through it and put the barrel on it. It was just, I'm so impressed with how he's taking charge of this.
Now, the Marlins, in their clubhouse, have someone monitoring the at-bats of Bryce Harper. And you would think that the Nationals probably are doing the same. And whoever's doing that for the Nationals is probably looking at the tablet or watching and saying, you know what, I can't believe it. D. Gordon's 2 for 2. Christian Yelich, I think, is going to come out of the ball game. He's 0 for 2. He's right at 300, and I think he's done for the day. And it looks like Ichiro is saddling up and getting ready to come in. That man's not done, not yet.
I love the fact that DJ is getting Yelich out of the game right now. Not because I'm sure he wants to play, but when you come from where Yelich has come from this year, we talked about earlier, June 1st hitting 222, dealing with the back injury, to be able to have a 300 batting average for the season it's absolutely astounding.
That's a really cool moment. Ball's in the dirt, and Ozuna takes it down low. Yeah, I mean, Yelich is month by month. 200 in April, 231 in May. He was hitting 196 on May 25th. According to Elias, the last player to hit below 200 as late as May 25th and then finish at 300, Sean Figgins in 2007. So that's almost 10 years ago.
It's a constant climb, too. He just kept getting better and better, and you just start seeing that Christian Yelich approach, that calm demeanor in the batter's box, that the good eye, the good takes, that nice, easy swing.
We said it earlier, one of the things about Bryce Harper, since he has fewer at-bats with all the walks than D. Gordon, he can go higher with a hit or lower with an offer than Gordon today. Bohr with a chopper over the middle. It's caught there, and Blanco throws to first in time. Can you believe this? The first pitch he saw, he doubled off the wall and right. This is the second pitch. And D. Gordon drops the hammer and hits it out. It's 2-0 Miami. And with a flair and an enthusiasm and energy. And today, man, that energy is at an all-time high. Ichiro is in right field. Ozuna slides over to center. D. Gordon has 2 hits, a double and a homer, and has taken control of the batting race on the final day of 2015. And the next at-bat for Bryce Harper will be interesting. He's 0 for 1. He's about 4 hitters away in the Washington order. Meanwhile, Adam Conley's been sharp. Fastball, ground ball, Rojas on to first in time. Eric Kratz is out number 1. All right, chance to select your seat. If you're a season ticket holder for the 2016 season and part of the Fish family, it'll guarantee you not only All-Star Game access, but you can select your seat in person on October 17th. 1-877-MARLINS. Go to marlins.com/tickets. Now, this is the type of pitching that Adam Conley has done in his last 3 starts, and he's carried it over here. He's pitched like it's the last day of the season in those 3 starts. He's pounded the strike zone. He's been aggressive. He's been max effort. Maybe not max effort, but pretty darn close. And the thing that Conley said, Preston, about as hard as you can go, as long as you can go, is that it has made his other pitches, his changeup, which has always been really good, and his slider very good. Because he feels now that it's all effort, and as hard as he can go, he's finishing those pitches.
That's one of the big things as a pitcher, is to get that extension. Jared Cozart had a time through the year where he wasn't finishing his pitches, and he lost that natural cut on his fastball because he wasn't getting that full extension. And you're seeing Conley with the max effort, with not worrying about holding back on velocity. He's finishing it. Now you're starting to see him only up in the zone when it's by design.
Jam shot there. Busy day for Rojas. He makes another play. All right, Preston, the next time Marlins Live pregame will be on is opening day against the Tigers in 2016 on April 5th. And it will be brought to you by your South Florida Honda dealers.
It's always a fun day. Opening day is always fun. I don't care how many times you go through it. To experience opening day, everybody's got that hope, everybody's got that optimism, and everybody's ready for that fresh start.
Marlins.com has the schedule for 2016. David Buchanan's got himself a hit. A single to center. And so a 2-out hit, and it turns the lineup over to Freddie Galvis, leadoff hitter. By the way, the score in that Mets-Nationals game is 0-0. It is Tanner Roark going for the Nationals. Jacob deGrom is going for the Mets. Max Scherzer last night, another no-hitter. Curtis Granderson led off with a single, the first hit for the Mets in a couple games. 1973, the last time that happened, Preston, where a pitcher threw 2 no-hitters in a season, and that was Nolan Ryan of the then California Angels.
Had the halos on the A out there. I remember that.
Galvis to left. Dietrich is there, and he makes the catch. 3 innings complete, 2-0 Miami.
At 2-0 in the 4th inning. Well, today we're taking your tweets and emails on your favorite Marlins memories from this season. And no surprise, the one that I've seen the most so far, the return of Jose Fernandez from Tommy John surgery. Jose made his debut on July 2nd against the San Francisco Giants. He was able to make it through 6 innings, racked up 6 strikeouts in that game. Of course, you would expect nothing less from Jose than to have a minimum of 6 strikeouts. And how about this? He also hit a home run in his debut. That was an unbelievable moment, unbelievable day, guys, at Marlins Park.
It was. That was a terrific atmosphere. And Tommy Hutton said that that was his favorite Marlins memory. Tommy getting the day off. Preston Wilson here in Philadelphia. Family event today scheduled for the Huttons. And I'm sure that he's enjoying that right now.
Oh, yeah.
And I told him on the way out, just don't eat too much cake. Dietrich, a laser into center field. And Derek Dietrich has a hit. He leads off the fourth with a single. Speaking of cake, the last time Preston Wilson was in this booth working here on a telecast, it was his birthday, and I think that birthday celebration, which included a big green fuzzy guy, will be on the super end of the season rollout. It's a tradition here on Fox Sports Florida. I've seen bits and pieces. It's really cool. It's worth hanging around for. If you have to go somewhere, set your DVR, make sure you get it. Great music, great video, great highlights, some fun stuff. Well, lots of fun stuff. There it is.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
And then the Fanatic, I think, came in and sweat on you.
But, you know, that was a neat thing for me because coming to Major League Baseball games when I was a kid at Old Veterans Stadium, I used to see the Philly Fanatic out there and just all his antics, and he's definitely one of the best in the business. And then as a player, I got to be on the field and have the Philly Fanatic. We used to steal his keys for his little four-wheeler. And then to have him, you know, I'm in a new role now, transition, and to have him come back, it's neat for me. I got a big kick out of it.
Dietrich's at first. McGee fouls a pitch back. The odd thing about last night, it was a doubleheader. First game was at 4 o'clock, and the Fanatic was nowhere to be seen. And it was cold and wet and rainy, and the Marlins played well, and they had a nice comeback win. All of a sudden, the Fanatic shows up for the 7 o'clock game. McGee bounces one over the middle. Blanco on the bag, flips it to first. And that is a double play. There's 2 outs. And then we found this guy last night. That's all we had for the first game was Bongo Cam with a fake Fanatic.
He looks like an alligator. Who let the crocodile in the game? You, sir, are not fooling anyone.
You know, I salute the effort, but the execution wasn't all that good.
That's rough. That was a rough-looking Philly Fanatic. That Philly Fanatic was doing bad.
Talise is up. This is Fan Appreciation Day here in Philly. One thing of note from the ceremony, they had a really nice presentation to Carlos Ruiz. Very emotional. The fans were into it. Charlie Manuel, his old manager, and it was Manuel who really was the champion of Ruiz that got him to the big leagues, put him in the lineup, kept him in the lineup. And so Manuel was there. And it may be the last time you see Ruiz in a Phillies uniform in this ballpark. He has another year on his contract, but you never know. It was a nice moment for sure. Miami up in Philly. It's 2-0.
right center field, hits it deep. Granderson back, looking up, and it's gone. That's over the old dimensions. Giancarlo Stanton with a 2-run shot, his first of the year. He's now the all-time leading home run hitter in Miami Marlins history.
Well, Giancarlo Stanton certainly has a lot of the Marlin memories and stuff that we've seen on Twitter. The hope is that in 2016 he'll have a lot more, and a healthy return for spring training and a healthy 2016 would be a real shot in the arm for this Marlins organization.
You know, I want to clear one thing up. I've heard a lot of talk about Giancarlo, and I've heard people say, you know, he didn't want to come back, he shut it down. There's nothing further from the truth than that. I've had numerous conversations with him about it. It just wasn't right. He couldn't get the feeling right in his hand. Couldn't get the strength back, and it was bothering him so much that he couldn't get back and be on the field with his team for the rest of the year. So I want to destroy that sentiment right there.
Eric Altair is up. Franco and Ruff to follow. Conley gets another strike. It's 1-2.
I feel like Tommy Hutton kind of just invaded my body just now for a minute.
That's okay. That's part. It's that headset. You're using Tommy's headset.
There's a little anger in this headset.
He left a little rant residue on there for you. Bohr reaches, gets it, and gets to the bag. One of the things Justin Bohr said the other day and talking about next year, he'd like to get to the offseason and maybe change the look of his body a little bit. Get into the gym, get into a little more of a focus on maneuverability. And so that'll be interesting to see in spring training how Bohr looks when he arrives.
There's no question he's a good athlete, and if he wants to do it and he has the desire to do it, he'll do it.
Well, there's a lot at stake. I mean, he's proven he can hit at the big league level. And he's had a terrific year. He's going to go into spring training, and you would think it certainly is his job to lose. He's starting to hit lefties, which is a great sign. And he recognizes that, you know what, he can do it here, but to stay here, there are things that you have to do. Ball and a strike.
He has a tremendous opportunity with the Marlins. They've been looking for their first baseman of the future for a while now. And what he's shown has let them know that he can do it with the bat. They just want to make sure that he's ready to go, ready to play, physically in the best shape he can be. And the sacrifice that you have to make is, you're going to have to put in more hours, maybe get some agility work in, and make that spot yours. Make somebody take it from you. Don't let you not being in the big league be your fault when you have the type of talent that Justin Bohr has.
And you look at the rookie home runs. Chris Bryant hit 26, Peterson 25, Bohr 23. And, of course, he wasn't the everyday first baseman for a while.
Now, look at that Peterson. He had 20 after the first 2 months, the first 2.5 months.
Be an interesting postseason for the Dodgers, who have been moving some personnel in and out. That ball in the air, shallow left center. Rojas is out, and it lands between Dietrich and Rojas. It's going to be a base hit from Kyle Franco.
On days like today, when the wind is blowing, it's a tough play for your shortstop to go back looking over his head, because that ball is running on him. See, he started looking out over one shoulder. The ball ends up on the other shoulder. So you, as an outfielder, you really have to be aware of that, because when you're running forward, it's a lot easier to keep your focus as opposed to when you're running with your back to the ball.
There is something on the field right now that has stopped play. It looks like some sort of bird has landed or stopped. I don't know. And it looks injured.
Or worse.
Yeah, and it's obviously you see it there in front of the tarp.
Well, now that's spooky.
the umpires and the players. D. Gordon was one of the, I think, the first to point over there. And we'll see. I think they're just going to try to remove it.
Oh.
Well, that was quick.
When animals start dropping out of the sky, you got to have a moment for concern.
Yeah, it doesn't look like the bird has survived. And Randy Johnson was not involved. Remember Randy Johnson, the pitch?
The spring training incident, yes.
In spring. There's Darren Ruff now. And Ruff takes outside. Adam Conley into the fourth. He's given up 3 hits. Now D. Gordon is due up third. He's 2 for 2. In New York, Bryce Harper is 0 for 1. He will lead off the fourth. That game is now bottom 3 with 1 out. Harper due to lead off against Jacob deGrom. He's 0 for 1 in the ball game. And Gordon rounded out is at 333. Harper is at 330 rounded out. So a chance to lead in all of those categories. And that's, you know, another list that is very short in baseball history. That one fouled back to the screen.
That pitch from Adam Conley has been one of the keys to his success. Being able to run that fastball in on righties has really allowed him to pitch more freely on the first base side of the plate when he's facing those right-handers.
You saw that little slab next to Gordon. He's leading in batting average now, and in stolen bases, and in hits. He would be just the second in the National League to do that. Others that have done it, Honus Wagner is the National Leaguer, but George Sisler, Stuffy Stimweiss, that was 1945, Ichiro in 2001, and Jose Altuve did it last year in the American League. Still, that's a very short list.
Was that an Altuve joke?
No. Ty Cobb as well. I think I left Ty Cobb off the list. Cobb, Wagner, Sisler, Stimweiss, Ichiro, Altuve. And if he can win the batting title, D. Gordon. Here comes Jeff Francoeur. Now that was to lead a league, and as I told you, only one other's done it in a National League. As far as all of baseball, it's kind of the same names: Wagner, Cobb, Sternweiss, Ichiro, and Gordon. The only guy missing there is Altuve, who led just the American League. Francoeur, a soft liner that's caught by Rojas.
There he is, getting in those righties again.
And so there's 2 outs here in the bottom of the fourth. Andres Blanco is the hitter.
Conley steps off, didn't like the sign, got to take another look.
Lined into left field, that's a base hit. Over for it is Dietrich. Around third is Franco. He's going to score. And on his way to second
is Andres Blanco. And the Phillies have a run, and the lead is now 2-1.
You could feel the game change a little bit when that Bird incident happened. The Conley's rhythm, his focus seemed to have been thrown off a little bit because he was cruising before that. Then right after that, issues the walk, gets in on Francoeur, but then base hit by Blanco. Good swing, drove in a run. I would have liked to have seen Derek Dietrich throw that ball to second base. I think the guy going from second to third, Ruffwood's going to make that anyway. You throw the ball to second, keep that base runner over there.
Now Kratz, who puts it in the air. Ichiro's out there. Wind will hold it up and push it back towards the infield. Ichiro makes the catch. Inning over. D. Gordon's coming up. By the way, Bryce Harper's due up in a moment in D.C. 2 hits for D, in the lead right now.
A deal. A line drive out into left field, breaking in. Conine can't get to it. Up with it, the runner's way. Here's the throw to the plate. Pudge is waiting. He tags him, gets knocked over, holds on, and the Marlins win the game. What a play to end it! A bruising collision at home plate.
What a Geico moment that was. J.T. Snow throwing out. Jeff Conine to Pudge. And the Marlins advance. Dave Van Horn on the call. The Hall of Fame radio voice of the Marlins.
Looks like he's gotten joined by Mike Hill having a little sit-in with DBH over there.
And they've got the windows open as well. Rojas dribbles one out to second. And Blanco throws out Miguel Rojas. All right. If you're just joining us, there's a look. Glenn Geffner, Michael Hill, and Dave Van Horn. If you're just joining us, D. Gordon and Bryce Harper coming down to the last day. Every game in Major League Baseball starting at the same time. And those two guys separated by percentage points. Harper just in front of Gordon. D. Gordon has seen 2 pitches in this ball game. The first one, he hit off the wall and right for a double. The next one, a changeup, outside part, he yanks out of the ballpark. He's 2 for 2. Harper's 0 for 1. And Harper is standing at the plate right now with a 1-1 count in New York. So Bryce Harper is up 0 for 1. Gordon is on deck. He's 2 for 2. Conley, a little tapper out to short. It's bobbled, and he's out by a step. And so here comes Gordon. If he gets a hit here, he can all but assure himself of winning that batting time. That was the first pitch, and that fastball was in, Preston.
Turned on a fastball in, pulled the hands in nice and clean, line drive off the wall, and this one was the one that was impressive to me. Change up that's turning over, running away from him. He stays on it, drives a bad hit through the zone, and hits a homer. Look at that.
And so here's Gordon, rounded up, or rounded out, he's at 333. Bryce Harper at 330. And Harper has just grounded out to short. He is 0 for 2. Gordon shortens the bunt. And he takes, it's 2-0.
Look at how every teammate is locked in on him right now. They're all eyes locked on D right now. And if you're Buchanan, you don't know where to pitch him right now. You tried the fastball in, laser off the gate. You tried the changeup down, moving away, home run.
There's a fastball for a strike. Now, here's a case where, and I said it earlier, a walk's not as good as a hit, but it doesn't hurt you, obviously, and it can really help Gordon in this spot.
Okay. Well, he was just going to
into right field. D. Gordon is 3 for 3. How about that? D. Gordon, a double, a homer, a single. And look at him. Frank Menachino, his hitting coach. Martin Prado, his teammate. Gordon is 3 for 3. Harper is 0 for 2.
Ladies and gentlemen, that is more than likely your batting title champion for the National League in 2015.
Gordon is at 334 with that hit. Fouled at the plate. Harper has fallen to 329. Boy, he put the barrel down and ripped it.
I tell you, Buchanan's got nothing to get him out with. He's seen the ball really well. He's hit the fastball, he hit the changeup. He's just got to hope that D misses right now, and he's not doing that.
And now Gordon at first base, he can add to his stolen base crown with Ichiro at the plate. Ichiro, his first at bat. Christian Yelich was 0 for 2 and was taken out of the game. Phillies will pitch out. This is up to the minute, and it's extended as far as the calculator will go. 333, and that's just a tick below. It's 334 in actuality if you round up. And Harper is at 329. Ichiro fouls it at the plate. All right, here's a question. Do you take Gordon out of the game at this point?
I would. I would take him out. He's 3 for 3. Harper's 0 for 2. Harper would have to go 3 for another 5 or 3 for 4. And I don't see him getting that many at bats. But the fact that D is 3 for 3, it can actually afford him one more at bat, and it won't really cost him that much.
Ichiro fouls it at the plate. If Harper goes 3 for his next 3, he still would not catch Gordon. He'll be at 333 exactly. And so that's what Harper has to do. And he may not get 3 ABs. And so D. Gordon with 3 hits. He's got 7 in this series. Ichiro takes in.
You know, D got that hit and the sun came out a little bit. Is it just me, or did it just brighten up a little bit when D got that hit?
Well, it's always bright around him. Ichiro an 0 for 5 in this series. And, by the way, he's a triple away from the cycle. Ichiro swings and misses. D. Gordon is 3 for 3, folks. A batting title should be his. fun and great play on both ends.
You know, I'd forgotten all about that play, but it was, I mean, it shows you the type of athlete that Justin Bour is. He's a big guy, there's no question about that, but he has really good hands and really good feet.
He reminds me of Sid Fernandez, pitcher that used to pitch for the Mets, lefty, was always a bigger guy, but just a tremendous athlete. He could hit. He was good on the bases. He was just a bigger guy.
2-1, Miami on top. The story here is that D. Gordon is 3 for 3. A double, a homer, a single. Bryce Harper 0 for 2. Harper's average at 329. Gordon's at 334 on the last day of 2015. Little tapper back to Conley, and he wheels and gets to first. Cameron Rupp is out number 1 here in the bottom of the 5th. Toyota Trent, our final one of 2015. All time for the Marlins, fewest homers at Citizens Bank Park. Dees was the 5th in game number 9. For the Marlins, another thing of note, yesterday the doubleheader sweep was the Marlins' first doubleheader sweep since 2008 when they swept the San Francisco Giants. A liner over the head of Ramos, and Dietrich down to a knee. I tell you what, David Buchanan has had good swings. He's 2 for 2. And that brings up Freddie Galvis. Never too late to think about bowl season. Preston Wilson, the Miami Beach Bowl is coming back to Marlins Park. It's the 2nd annual, and it's December 21st, 2015. MiamiBeachBowl.com for tickets, potential matchups, news and notes around the Miami Beach Bowl. Freddie Galvis is 0 for 2. That game in New York is scoreless. The Nationals and the Mets. And Washington is still without a hit against Jacob deGrom. Galvis swings and misses.
That's that nasty, hard-biting slider from Conley. I love his aggressiveness now. I love the fact that he's working bottom of the zone as well as top of the zone. And I wouldn't be surprised to see him try to finish him off with a high fastball here. They've been doing that a lot by design.
The fastball's hit in the air. Ichiro looking into the sun. And that's into the seats. Ichiro on the last day getting a chance to take another bite or two out of the chase for 3,000.
You know, and it's really easy for a guy like Ichiro who has accomplished what he has in his career. Just say, nah, Skip, I'm going to take the day off. But he loves playing this game.
And of course, Ichiro is in the ball game for Christian Yelich. Yelich, who had the big day that pushed him over 300 yesterday, went 0 for 2. And his average right at 300. And his skipper, Dan Jennings, has given him the rest of the day off. Freddie Galvis. Buchanan at first. And Conley's fastball is fouled out of play. For Conley, for Justin Nicolino, who threw last night and threw quite well. Nicolino getting the win in game 2, 7 innings. To center, Ozuna charges in. A little bit of a jump. It's line drives at you in center field, Preston. You know this. You played the position, are tough. On a day like this, the wind has got to make that tougher.
the wind makes it tough, but I tell you what made this play tough was the size of the guy who hit the ball. When you see a guy, Freddie Galvis' size, hit that ball, you don't think he's going to carry. He basically could have almost overrun this ball. That's why he pulled up and gave that little hop step right there. A bigger guy, you're going to tend to hold your position a little more because they have that extra strength.
There's the changeup. That a devastating pitch for Conley, and he holds that pitch between the pinky and ring finger on his left hand. That's a couple digits further out than most lefties hold that changeup, or right-handers for that matter. He feels it gives him a little more tumble and side spin, almost a screwball action when it comes to the plate.
You're looking for action. And Conley's a guy who has good velocity, but you need something to offset that fastball. And when you get that grip, it does give you a little tumble. It gives you more action on that ball.
Conley trying to get through the fifth here. Phillies got a run in the bottom of the fourth. Buchanan dancing off of first.
You know, as a pitcher, you hope to have some velocity, you hope to have location, and you hope to have movement. And when you can incorporate all those three things, that's what your stuff is.
Little pop, Bohr going back, and he reaches up and can't make the catch and lost his footing. Buchanan around third. The throw from Gordon, safe is Buchanan.
Mentioned it earlier on the ball out, Rojas going out. Balls over your head as an infielder. When it's windy, they're really tough. That's a hard play for Justin Bohr. You're running with your back to the field. You're trying to locate the ball and try to stay in stride without your head bouncing up and down. This is not an easy play. No, it's tough to see it go down like that. It hits off the heel of his glove, and under other conditions, it's a much easier play. But give Buchanan some credit. He came all the way from first base on that play and scored. So not only does he have 2 hits, he showed some really good, aggressive, smart base running by going on that.
That's going to go as a double for Eric Alta.
And thanks to his pitcher, an RBI double.
Michael Franco, a 1-for-2 day. Conley misses a wade. So it's 2-2 ball game. 63 pitches in is a 25-year-old from the state of Washington, a Washington State Cougar.
That's just a tough break for Conley. He made the pitch he needed to pitch to get him out of the inning, and they just hit it in the right spot and in the right conditions.
There's the changeup, and a really good one. Evens the count at 2-2. There's a look at the flags. You can see that they are still moving.
Yeah, those are really big flags. So when you got flags that big that are stretched out like that, that means the wind is really up out there, and it can play havoc on you trying to catch a baseball with your back to the field. It's not easy conditions. You know, and Justin Bohr is going there with the shadows and the sun over there going towards right field as well.
Full count. Altair out at second. To right, pretty well hit. Ichiro, Wynn holds it. Ichiro catches it. But the Phillies draw even with a run to the 6th in Philly. 2-2. Big day for D.
great moment from this season that Marlins fans love? How about Giancarlo Stanton's monster home run at Dodger Stadium? That was back in May. Giancarlo crushed that ball 467 feet. He became only the 4th player to hit a ball that far at Dodger Stadium, joining Willie Stargell, Mark McGwire, and Mike Piazza. By the way, I had a chance to talk to Mark McGwire the day after Giancarlo hit that home run, and he said he was incredibly impressed. He said it's been so much fun to see what Giancarlo Stanton has done throughout the course of his young career.
Well, that's a guy that would know, that's for sure. Thank you, Jessica. Marcell Ozuna against David Buchanan, Justin Bour, Derek Dietrich here in the 6th. Here in Philadelphia today, it appears as if D. Gordon has won himself the National League batting crown. That one lined foul. Gordon is 3 for 3, and he's done it impressively. Doubled his first at bat. First pitch he saw. Homered in his next at bat. First pitch he saw. And then singled his last at bat. So he's 3 for 3. And Bryce Harper is 0 for 2. Ball in the dirt. It's a 5-point lead now for Gordon. He's at 334 and Harper's at 329. Strikeout of Ozuna. There's one out here in the 6th. And here comes Bour.
When you think of leaving a lasting impression for your ball club to take into the offseason, David Buchanan is having himself quite a day. Pitching well, but also 2 base hits, running the bases well. And he's showing the ability to put away hitters right now, which was something that he also struggled with early in the year. He has movement. He can locate the ball, but he never really developed that out pitch early on. And now we're starting to see that changeup becoming that pitch for him, I think, today.
That changeup misses away to Bour. Bour reached on an error by Jeff Francoeur. That plated a run back in the 1st. Got tied up on that fastball.
And that's what a good changeup will do to some guys. It'll have you thinking about it, get you conscious of it, and then 89 is by you. Hit that ball off of his knuckles.
Bour, a 3-hopper out to second. Blanco throws him out. 2 outs here in the 6th. Fish Family, the exclusive loyalty program of Marlin fans. To learn more, log in. Go to marlins.com/fishfamily. And the code today, the final code of 2015 is Fish Family. Now Derek Dietrich. Every game in Major League Baseball starting at the same time on the last day. And for D. Gordon and the Marlins, what a really cool thing. Because it changes the dynamics of a chase like that. There have been times where guys have come down to the last day, but you know, one game will start 3 hours before the next. Busted bat and a roller to first, and Kratz gets to the bag. A quick inning for the Fish. We go to the bottom of the 6th in Philly. It's 2-2.
epic meals, epic deals. Philadelphia on this early October afternoon, last day of 2015 for Major League Baseball's regular season. Hot dog and cheeseburger. Walk into a ballpark. And the hot dog says, did you know D. Gordon is 3 for 3 and is going to win the National League batting crown? And the cheeseburger said,
no.
Of course he is.
I got to catch up.
Oh, very good. Very good. Darren Ruff, Jeff Francoeur, Andres Blanco against Adam Conley.
Rich, I relish these moments.
Now you're going too far. There's a point where you collect your winnings and you step away from the table.
I had to stay for that last hand, though.
Yeah, you did. Yeah, you did. Ruff takes a cut-it-up fastball, and Conley has a strikeout. So went out here in the bottom of the 6th. This copyrighted telecast is presented through the authority of the Miami Marlins Baseball Club. Cannot be reproduced, retransmitted in any form. The accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Marlins. Jeff Francoeur is 0 for 2. All right, we're so caught up in this batting race. Francoeur, it's a fly ball to left center. And it's Ozuna over Dietrich for the rebound and the catch. Dietrich getting a little bit of a lecture there from Ozuna. Now, the final day of 2015, every game starting at the same time. Of course, the teams that are in a postseason race, that really ratchets up the drama. Houston has that number 2 wild card spot. The Angels have been hot. And the Angels scored 5 runs in the 9th to beat Texas in Arlington. That bunt is going to roll foul. The West is still up for grabs because Houston can still catch Texas. And that would mean a 1-game playoff tomorrow between Houston and Texas. If that happens, that game is in Arlington. Right now, Houston trails Arizona 2-1 in the 5th in Arizona, but Texas trails the Angels 2-1 in Arlington. If those scores hold, then the Angels and the Astros would then have a 1-game playoff tomorrow for the wild card, and that game would be in Houston. A lot of moving parts, but a lot of fun on the last day. Ozuna coming in, no sign of Dietrich on this one, and he makes the catch. Adam Conley, 8 pitches in that inning. He's through 6 and has thrown well.
Hit left field. Off to the races is Gordon. On his way home. Ball game. Miami wins it. And Yelich with a walk-off hit.
Air Gordon made his debut on that one. Both Christian Yelich and Jessica Blaylock thought they took the charge, but Gordon got credit for the dunk, and it would carry over for the rest of the season. Francoeur makes the catch. Jessica Blaylock, did you know it was coming? Did you see it coming?
I had no idea what was coming. Now, luckily in spring training, some of the guys were nice enough to warn me about potential Gatorade baths or throwing sunflower seeds at me throughout the course of the game. So when that first walk-off win happened, I was like, okay, what are we going to see? All of a sudden, I'm in the middle of talking to Christian Yelich, and D. Gordon lands right in the middle of us. But what a fun moment. It was the dunk heard around the world. My favorite dunk might have been, in addition to that one, when D came out to dunk on Ichiro and out of respect said, hey, is it okay if I do this? There were some great dunks, though, throughout the course of this season.
Yeah, there were.
I don't know if you've ever asked someone if you could dunk on them.
But I will say this. That was the first, and that was probably the most violent one, because he really flew into Yelly, and Jessica, you took some of that as well.
Yes, I did.
But I think D dialed it down a little bit and was a little more careful from that point on.
Jessica, I want to get a copy of that and have you sign it for me. So it'd be like your posterization.
Yes, because I definitely did not see it coming.
1-2 to Tomas Talis. And Buchanan misses down low. All right, watch this. This is Gordon. Oh, wow. That's some good ups. Galvis can't make that play. Talis has got an infield hit. And the Marlins have a base runner here in the 7th inning.
Well, that's got to feel good after a couple rough at-bats for Tomas Talis, not getting many plate appearances lately. To be able to get yourself a knock, it's got to feel pretty good.
Here comes Rojas. Now, just to update things as far as the batting race. Gordon is 3 for 3. Double, homer, single. Harper is 0 for 2. Harper is at 329, roughly. Gordon is at 334, roughly. Harper is due up next inning. And there's 2 outs in the bottom of the 5th of a scoreless game in New York. Gordon is 3 hitters away here. I mean, it really has been something to watch Gordon not shy from the pressure of this, the challenge of this. He blasted the first pitch he saw, which was a pitch in on his hands, off of the wall in right field. His next at bat, a changeup outside part, he homered on it. That ball's going to get into center field. That's a base hit for Rojas. Conley is due up next, and it looks like the Marlins are going to lift him for a pinch hitter. So Rojas and Talis with back-to-back hits. And Jeff Mathis will get the at-bat.
I think the emergence of Miguel Rojas' bat has definitely given him a good spot on the roster next year, because you added his fielding with that production that you're getting, and you need a guy like Miguel Rojas. First player I've ever heard described as having magic hands. Dan Jennings said Miguel Rojas has magic hands.
Well, I think that's an apt description. He's a terrific defensive player. And that's another thing. We haven't even mentioned Gold Glove for D. Gordon this year because of all the things that he could accomplish and that he has here in the last week. In early November, when they award the Gold Glove for the National League second baseman, it may well be him, and deservedly so. He's had just a super defensive year
by all metrics and by the eyeball test. Pitch is in the dirt. Cameron Rupp smothers it. Mathis hitting for Adam Conley. The other thing working here, he is a triple shy of Miami's first cycle. This is a tough place to triple in, but you can do it, and with his speed, that's not out of the realm of possibility.
Well, I think if you get him shooting one in that right center gap where that 398 is, just to the right of center field, or in that little triangle out there in left where it says 387, 374, he's definitely got a chance to run for 3 bags there.
Three and one to Mathis. Nationals are just coming to the plate. Bryce Harper is due up 4th. Washington does not have a hit. Jacob deGrom is out of the game, and in the top of the 6th, it's Bartolo Colon pitching now for the Mets. Phillies bullpen is active. Mathis with the count full now at 3-2. Talise at second, Rojas at first. And he got him. Struck him out on a fastball. All right, here comes D. Gordon, and I'm not sure he's going to see Buchanan for the 4th time, and he's not. Pete Buchanan's coming out of the dugout and is on his way out to the mound, and he's already signaled to the bullpen. So the Phils will make a pitching change. D. Gordon getting ready for his 4th at bat. He's 3 for 3. West Kendall Toyota called to the bullpen. The American League Division and Championship Series. Don't miss a moment, and it all begins October 8th on FS1. It streams live on Fox Sports Go. In Philadelphia today, Fan Appreciation Day for the Phillies. A lot of Fanatic caps. They serve 2 purposes. They're fun to wear, and they keep you warm. D. Gordon now to the plate to face Luis Garcia. Gordon is 3 for 3. Double, homer, single. With a batting title in the balance as the day started. Gordon has seized the moment. Bryce Harper is 0 for 2. Gordon has a 5-point lead right now. And the count is 1-0. Obviously, he's a triple away from the cycle, but the batting title is at the very, very top of the list. Gordon fouls it off. Only Hanley Ramirez has won a batting title as a Marlin. No one else. Here's the 1-1. And that's fouled off. By the way, Bartolo Colon has come in and continued the no-hitter. The Mets got 4 innings from Jacob deGrom, and now Bryce Harper will lead off the next inning because the Nationals just went down in order. So through 6 innings, Washington without a run and without a hit. 1-2 to Gordon. That pitch is in. You know, maybe it's, and I'm not saying these are the same things, but if you think about batting races and achieving something, the city of Philadelphia has a history of that. 1941, last game of the season, Ted Williams went 6 for 8 in a doubleheader. The last man to hit 400. He ended at 406. Gordon swings and misses and strikes out. So D. Gordon is 3 for 4. Miami leaves a couple, and this game's still tied 2-2. That's coming up after the ball game. The end of the season highlight reel. That'll be at the end of Marlins Live post game. So hang in there, kids. Andre Rienzo out of the bullpen for Miami. D. Gordon with that strikeout is now at 333. Bryce Harper is still 0 for 2. He's at 329. And Harper is due to lead off when the Nationals get to the top of the 7th. The Nationals do not have a hit today in a scoreless game in New York against the Mets. Looks like both starters have reached the end of the line. Would you like to play golf with Jack McKeon? Well, you can do it. The 3rd annual Jack McKeon Celebrity Golf Classic. Jack will be there. It's at Crandon Golf, Key Biscayne on Wednesday, February 17th. Marlins players, coaches, other celebrities 1-877-MARLINS. Go to marlins.com/golf. You can email as well, foundation@marlins.com. D. Gordon not only has 3 hits, but he's also going with the old school, I guess depending on your era, socks.
See,
At one point they were new school like that, but that time and era has passed us by.
Yeah, that's gone. See, for me, when I think old school, I think the separate stirrups from the socks, the old sanitary socks, and then you put the colored stirrups over the top. That's what I remember as old school.
But for some generations, the young kids today that are watching the game, they see that and they look at it and say, what is that?
Oh, yeah.
And you got to go back and look at the highlights of the 70s, maybe a little bit of 80s. Now, when you broke into the big leagues, how high were your socks? How low were your pants?
I was always a long pants guy. And maybe that's because when I was with the Mets in the minor leagues, we had to wear stirrups, and we had to show a certain amount of blue. They would actually go around checking your uniform. That's one of the things Dallas Green was like, hey, everybody had to have like this military type thing. So when I got my chance to wear my pants long, I wore them long.
Odubel Herrera is hitting. Andre Rienzo's pitching, and he misses in.
There were a couple of occasions where I did wear the high pants with the stirrups, though. When on Jackie Robinson Day, I would hike him up in honor of Jackie Robinson. See, Ichiro's he's got the soccer socks on out there. He looks good in anything he wears, though. He's just a cool dude. He walks in the locker room, and it's a fashion show all the time, and it's like he's got theme music.
He has this really cool Tokyo chic way of dressing that the whole team just loves to see. Whether it's jeans kind of rolled up with the fancy socks going.
Oh, yeah. I saw him one day. He had jeans rolled up, the socks. He had on this white jacket. It had on the sunglasses. I mean, he himself looked like an entourage, if that's possible.
Fanatic getting his last licks in. That one ends up in the seats.
Herrera reminds me of one thing. There's more than one way to hit. He's got that funky stance, wide open, hands stretched out away from his body, and he absolutely rakes. 296 on the season. He's one of the bright spots when you talk about youth on this Phillies team.
And he walks. Yeah, Rule 5 guy from the Rangers that not only has stuck all year, but performed all year. We were talking last night how rare that is. Oftentimes, teams try to protect a Rule 5 guy, nurse him along for the whole year, and then he's in the minor leagues the next year. I don't see that happening with Odubel.
No, I think he and Maikel Franco have made a tremendous impact on this team, and they're going to be 2 guys that they're going to look to for production in the next few years.
Cameron Rupp now, who was 0 for 2. Herrera can run, and Rienzo steps off. All right, they're going now to the 7th inning in New York. And Bryce Harper is set to lead it off. And we'll see who the Mets have got. That one's hit to left, and it's hit pretty well and deep. Ozuna, track, and it bounces off the warning track into the stands. That's going to be a ground rule double. But the Phillies now have runners at 2nd and 3rd.
That ball was hit in the perfect spot, probably almost equidistant away from both outfielders, and it was hit hard enough that nobody had a chance to get there, and the wind was pushing it away from Ozuna. That's why he couldn't track it. Just a perfectly placed ball.
Cody Ashe now is going to pinch hit. Ashe is actually in the ceremonies before first pitch, the fan appreciation ceremonies. Ashe was the Philly who took the mic and addressed the crowd and had a lot of very cool things to say, admitting that the Phillies did not have the best of year, but talked about the pride of wearing the P on his cap and playing in this city, and was greeted quite warmly when he did that.
I thought he spoke really well. It's not an easy thing for a young guy like Cody Ashley to stand up and basically be the spokesman in front of, however many thousand people are here today. It's not an easy thing to do, and it's not scripted or anything, but I think the sentiment that he tried to relay was relayed quite nicely by Cody Ashley.
Bryce Harper has bounced out again. He's 0 for 3, and it really feels like it's over, and that Dee Gordon has won the batting title.
I'm about to break out into my happy dance.
Dee Gordon 3 for 4 at 333. Harper, we're still calculating, probably about 328 now with the 0 for 3 that he's got. Rounding up, he still sits at 329. Bags loaded. Here's Galvis. There's nobody out, and Rienzo misses outside. Galvis in 0 for 3. See the middle infield looking for 2. Corners are in. Miguel Rojas trying to calm down Rienzo. Major League average really hadn't changed much since we've been tracking that stat over the last 3-4 years. It's been right around 50% every season. And Rienzo's in some trouble here. There's nobody right now down in the Marlins pen that is ready. He's thrown just 3 strikes out of 14 that he's thrown. And he lost him. And the Phillies have the lead. So 3 walks and a double. Chuck Hernandez is on his way out, and he's going to try to buy some time that somebody can get warm in Miami's bullpen. And there is that somebody, Jose Urena.
It's one of those things where Renzo just can't find the feel. And what Chuck Hernandez is doing right now, he's just trying to give him a little soft reset. He's trying to get him to change his thought process, maybe give him something mechanically to think about, or maybe even just talk to him something to take his mind off of it totally so that he can get back to just focusing on that glove and just trying to release that ball right to Tomas Telis.
And so Rienzo now gets Eric Altair. RBI double in the 5th. He's 1 for 3. In the infield, in just about the same spot. Bohr is in at first. Up the middle, kind of halfway. Altair to center and well hit. Ozuna going after. He's not going to get it. It's in the gap. It's going to the wall, and it'll score 3. Rupp scores. And the Phillies push across 3 runs. Galvis the last to come across. And all of a sudden, it is 6-2.
We spoke earlier about Dee Gordon needing a triple, and we said that 398 spot out there would probably be the place to do it well. Aaron Altair just showed that that is the place to get a triple. Line that ball. Ozuna had no chance to get this, and this ball is center cut. That's middle, working a little bit down and in. Altair does a great job of getting his hands through, driving that ball back up the middle. Great swing. Good, tall, lanky leverage right there from Altair, and that just cleared the bases.
Andre Rienzo never had it when he walked out on the diamond.
No, it's tough to end your season on this type of appearance, but it happens, and unfortunately, this is what you're going to have to wear with you for the offseason.
He's walked 3, 1 intentionally, and given up a couple doubles. Franco is the hitter. Altair is still at third. Excuse me, that a triple. So a double and a triple and 3 walks. And Dan Jennings just buying time for Urania to get loose. And he's coming into the ball game. The Phillies have busted this open to 6-2. West Kendall Toyota called to the pen. Runs here for Philadelphia. Time now for the Coors Banquet Timeless Moments. This date 2014. 6 hours and 23 minutes. The longest postseason game in Major League history. The Giants outlasted the Nationals. That really broke the spirit of the Nationals and helped the Giants win that division series. They, of course, would go on to win the World Series. Almost 22,000 here on Fan Appreciation Day in Philadelphia, on a day that will be remembered as the day Dee Gordon won a batting title. Gordon is 3 for 4. He's at 333. Bryce Harper is 0 for 3. He right now is at 329. Of course, yesterday, Gordon won a stolen base crown when he passed Billy Hamilton, 58 stolen bases. And man, he came out today firing. Doubled off the wall first pitch he saw, homered on the next pitch he saw, and then singled to go 3 for 3. Struck out his last at bat, and he is 3 for 4. He is, by the way, still a triple away from the cycle, and it appears as if he's going to get at least another at bat in this ball game. Here is Franco. And Urania's pitch pops out of the glove of Talise.
We had a feeling today was going to be a good day. Dee Gordon was out here, what, a good maybe 3 hours before the game, 2 hours before the game. They didn't hit on the field, but he was out, took some sprints out to center field, getting loose, and he just looked like he was ready and focused, ready to go.
He's a special kid, I will tell you that, having been around him for just one season. And it's why his teammates love him so much. If you spend any time around him, you know he not only is a dynamic and exciting Major League player, he is an incredible person.
And we thank the LA Dodgers for allowing us to have him, because he's special in more ways than just on the baseball field. He's got that personality that people gravitate to. He's charismatic. He's dynamic. He's fun, and it's hard to have a bad day around Dee Gordon.
And I know today we've named our favorite Marlin moments. Fans on Twitter have done that as well. One moment that stands out with Dee Gordon doesn't involve a stolen base, doesn't involve a hit or a Gold Glove play in the field. It was that moment on the last homestand, the elderly woman who was hit in the head by a foul ball It was down the left field line. Gordon was in the field, and rather than head to the dugout like everybody would, Gordon sprinted towards the woman, made sure that she was okay. The next half inning, on his way out, he brought her a bat. That pitch misses outside. When Gordon saw there was a girl behind that woman who was so surprised and excited that the woman got the bat, the woman actually, with a bandage on her head, turned around and gave that girl the bat. Gordon was so impressed. The next half inning, Gordon went out and gave the woman a pair of spikes and a jersey.
It's genuine. There's a lot of people that we come across in this business, and all of their efforts seem scripted or contrived to garner some type of attention or focus on him, and he just does it in a very genuine, everyday type of way. And that's what I like about him. Is he shows his love for the game, he shows his emotions, but everything that you see with D. Gordon is genuine.
Darren Ruff, the hitter. Franco has walked. Urena not having much more success than Rienzo. This was an Adam Conley start. Conley pitched well. 6 innings, 2 runs. Conley's going to end his season with an ERA of 3.76. Certainly is a really interesting option for next year in the starting rotation. And I think both he and Nicolino are going to be in that competition for spots in the rotation.
We mentioned the Marlins searching for a first baseman. They've also been searching for a left-handed arm in that starting rotation. And these two kids are definitely battling to possibly be in that mix.
Two balls, 2 strikes. Nobody out, bottom 7. David Buchanan pitched well. He gave up 2 runs, 1 earned, 6 2/3. And the Phillies here in the bottom of the 7th have stretched it to 6-2. Swing and a miss, and there's the first out of the inning. And that brings up Jeff Francoeur. Quick check on scores around baseball, seeing what's going on. You know, home field in the National League wild card was in doubt going into today, with the Cubs just a game behind the Pirates and holding the tiebreaker. But the Pirates lead the Reds 2-0 in the bottom of the 6th. The Cubs do lead Milwaukee 3-1. If those scores hold, Pittsburgh hosts for the 3rd straight year that tiebreak game. Gordon ventures out, makes the catch. Everybody holds, and that's the 2nd out of the 7th inning. Texas has rallied to lead the Angels 3-2. Texas can win the West if they win that game. Arizona going back and forth with Houston. It's 3-2 now. Arizona up over Houston. That's in the top of the 6th. If the Angels beat Texas, Houston is, or excuse me, if Texas beats the Angels, Houston is the 2nd wild card. If the Angels beat Texas and Houston loses, that's a 1-game playoff in Houston tomorrow.
And there will be a pop quiz in the top of the 9th.
All right, here's another wrinkle. The Yankees are involved. The Yankees are trailing Baltimore by a score of 7-1. If Houston wins and the Yankees lose, Houston gets the number 1 wild card.
Wow.
And that by the tiebreaker in head-to-head play this year.
There's a lot of moving pieces right now. But it's fun, and I think this is what baseball envisioned when they put this together, having all the games at the same time. They want that drama. They want all of this coming to a head at the same time.
Blanco swings and misses. Looks like his backswing caught Talise or something. It's 1-2. It's a first. Bohr has it and steps on the bag, and a long inning ends. 4 runs for the Phils. 8th inning coming up. 6-2 Phillies. Here is your game summary. First pitch of the game. That would be a double for D. Gordon. Looking for a batting title. Off to a great start. 1 for 1 at that point. He would score when Justin Bour hits it and Jeff Francoeur drops it. And Miami had a 1-0 lead at that point. So Gordon's 1 for 1. Here's the second pitch he saw. Bam! That's a home run, kids. On a changeup. D. Gordon 2 for 2 at this point. How about that? What a surprise. Fourth inning, Phillies would get on the board. Andres Blanco with an RBI double. In the fifth, Eric Altair. That one misplayed into a double. Justin Bour couldn't come down with it, and the Phillies had tied the game at that point. In the seventh, Altair to right center field, and that would drive in 3. 6-2 the score. D. Gordon would single in his third at bat, strike out in his fourth at bat, and the Fanatic caps are out on a chilly afternoon in Philadelphia. And here is Ichiro. D. Gordon is 3 for 4. His average sits roughly at 333. Bryce Harper 0 for 3. His average roughly at 329. Dalier Hinojosa on the mound for the Phillies. Second at bat for Ichiro. He struck out in the fifth. I guess the question for Ichiro is, where will he play next year if he plays in the major leagues? He's said that he wants to. He sits right now 2,935. Odubel Herrera is out in center. A strike to Ichiro, and it's 3-1.
Well, I know that the Marlins organization really like Ichiro. They love his work ethic. They like having their young players see how he goes about his business, how he takes care of his body. So I think they would like to have him back. I think, but when you're someone who has, accomplished what Ichiro has accomplished, there may be some other options out there for him.
He fouls that one back. I think for Ichiro, has had a couple of stretches where he has struggled at the plate, and he's in one of those right now. I've seen his average dip to 229. And he swings and misses there. So I guess the question is, if he's back next year, is he able to, maybe with a bit fewer at bats, straighten out and get some base hits and get to 3,000? Here's Marcell Ozuna. Ozuna takes out. He is 0 for 2. Justin Bour also due up here in the 8th.
That's a well-placed strike right there. That's a pitch that even if you swing at it, there's not a whole lot you can do with it. So don't feel bad about taking that pitch, Ozuna. That's his. You got to tip your hat on that one.
Here's a 1-1. Marcel sprays it over to first. And it's out number 2. We check in with Jessica Blaylock.
Well, guys, another great memory from this season that I've seen a lot of Marlins fans mention on Twitter. JT Realmuto's 2-home run night against the Brewers. Now, the reason that was special, JT knocked one out of the park, but he also had an inside-the-park home run. He became only the 209th player in Major League Baseball history to accomplish that feat. And, guys, what might have been most impressive, he almost ran the bases as quickly as D. Gordon.
Yeah, Realmuto, that was a special moment. Here's Justin Bour. JT, a couple hits last night. All the catchers have produced, at least the first 2 in this series. Mathis homering in the first game. Realmuto 2 hits in the second. Talise an infield hit in this ball game. For me, my favorite Marlin memory this year was Justin Bour and the walk-off homer against the San Francisco Giants, because that started him on that run. Bour lines it down the left field line, and that is a base hit. It's going to go to the wall, and the big man's headed for second. Justin Bour, his 20th double.
That's something that if he continues to display that approach, he's going to give opponents a lot of trouble, because they know that he likes the fastball in. He's going to pull the ball. When you can use that part of the field and spray that ball on the opposite field and do it with some authority, now you change the game of how they're going to pitch you. So that's good to see him. I'm impressed with seeing his growth and his maturity at the plate this year.
And that's another thing Bour talked about when he was talking about next year. He said, I want to try to refine my body a little bit, because I believe I can be more than just a slugger. I can be a good hitter. And you're right. When he drives the ball to left and up the middle, he shows off those hands. And remember what I said, that's one of the things the Marlins really like about him. Very athletic hands and feet.
I like the idea, but I would make sure, as a young guy like Justin Bour is, to understand that it's okay to be a slugger. Yes, you want to make sure that you're maximizing at bats and not giving at bats away, but if you're a slugger, then be a slugger. There's not going to be a whole lot of guys that can hit 300, 320 and still hit 25, 30 home runs. Those guys are rare. If you're a slugger and you're going to be a 260 to 280 guy that can hit 25 or 30, then be that. Sometimes you can work against your skill set when you start trying to be too smart at the plate, trying to be too cute at the plate. I went through a phase with that in my career, and I had someone to tell me, get back to being a slugger. And I started producing more how I had in the past.
He started to hit the ball out to left as well. I mean, he's almost in a Ryan Howard type fashion, to use a comparison for someone that's seared into Marlin fans' memories. I mean, Bour started a homer to left field and show power to left field, which is pretty darn impressive.
Well, he's got that type of power. He's a big guy. He uses his leverage really well. He's got quick hands, which is something that you can't really teach. It's hard you can't make someone's back quicker. He's got quick hands, and you're going to see how they pitch him is going to dictate where these balls start flying out of the ballpark.
Dietrich up the middle. Galvis just gets him by less than half a step. And Miami's 8th ends. The Phillies lead this ball game 6-2. Ichiro, and he's about to pitch in a major league game. Ichiro is on the mound, loosening up. This is something that Ichiro has long lobbied his managers for in Japan and in Major League Baseball. He was after Lou Piniella for the longest time to let him pitch. When he got to New York, he pleaded with Joe Girardi, if you ever need someone, let me pitch. And here, on the last day of 2015, Ichiro, who was a fabulous pitcher as a high school player in Japan, is on the mound.
This is a lot of fun.
This is something he has waited his entire career for. And he will face Odubel Herrera. And the first pitch pops out of the glove of Tomas Talis, 86 miles an hour from Ichiro.
I get snuck up on Talis just now.
In the 1996 Japanese All-Star game, he pitched to a hitter. Herrera smokes one down the right field line. That's a hit. And into the corner it goes. Herrera on his way to second. And he's got himself a double. In that All-Star game, Ichiro was going to pitch to a position player, but the opposing manager thought, you know what, I'm not happy with this. And so he put a pitcher up there to hit against Ichiro. And Ichiro gets his welcome to pitching moment there with a loud double to right. Of course, you know, the other thing here is, it's one thing for a position player to pitch. It's another thing for a guy who's about to turn 42 to do it.
You know, I'm watching him. He actually looks like he's got a decent idea about what he's doing.
Nobody in baseball throws more than Ichiro. So arm strength-wise, he's got it. And he's been waiting for this for a long time.
I think he's getting squeezed a little bit right here. Got to check out Fox Track, see where that last pitch was.
Center field, Ozuna back. The yard will hold it. Herrera tags. And Ozuna makes the catch. And his throw to third is a bit offline. Ichiro actually backing up third base. And you're right, he was getting squeezed.
Yeah.
Pitch two was a strike.
Yeah, let's go back there.
So Ichiro's got an out. Darnell Sweeney, the kid from Fort Lauderdale, will come up. Now, this is really cool. Look at all the Phillies. They're on the rail. They know this is historic. All the Marlins are on the rail. Infield in, Ichiro to Sweeney. Fastball, that's hit hard to right field and deep. And it's off the wall. It's going to score Herrera. And a double for Sweeney.
This reminds me of a long time ago. Jose Oquendo played every position. I think it was on the last day of the season. And I believe it was with St. Louis. He played every position in a 9-inning game.
Now you're getting into the top of the order. Freddie Galvis. Ichiro is stuck with fastballs at this point. I'm not sure what else is in his arsenal. We don't have a scouting report on Ichiro as a pitcher. He gets a strike and it's 0-1. Even the bullpen is standing and watching. They do have another reliever up. Ah, the breaking ball.
He dropped a deuce on him.
Ichiro. The count's 0-2. And Galvis looking back at the home plate umpire, DJ Rayburn.
That was one of those, wait a minute, what? What was that?
0-2.
A change up? Come on now, Ichiro.
1-2. Ichiro has given up a couple doubles. He has a long fly ball out. Bouncer to second. Gordon has it. On to first. And there's 2 outs.
Showing a little finesse right there. Went to the changeup, breaking ball. And more than anything, he's around the plate. Everything is right around the strike zone.
Here is Eric Altair. He's topped out at 88. The off-speed pitch at 78. And here's Altair, who's had a big day. 3-run triple, RBI double. And Ichiro with a breaking ball that misses low.
First pitch, breaking ball, just pulling out. He saw Altair go up there and get him a bases clear and triple last time. He knows how to stay away from it.
Oh, gorgeous pitch. A strike, and it's 1-1.
Nice smooth delivery, snaps it off on him right at the bottom of the strike zone.
1-2, that one fouled off. So Ichiro has a couple outs. He's given up a run here in the bottom of the 8th. Checks the runner at third. And Talise gets a piece of it, holding third is Sweeney. So something Ichiro's waited for a long time.
You know what? It's nice to, I mean, this is a reward. This is a reward for coming off the bench all year, being ready at a moment's notice, you know, and being so well liked.
I like the fact that he's shaking Talise off.
When you think about it, though, you got he has seen more at bats than Talise has ever.
Breaking ball, fly ball down the left field line, and it ends up in the seats.
I want so bad to see him end this inning on a strikeout. I really do.
Three-two coming. Foul back. Can you imagine the stir right now in Japan? For 15 years with Ichiro in the major leagues, every move has been covered. And right now, I'm sure the entire country is watching. To left field, shallow. Dietrich has it, and Ichiro Suzuki has pitched an inning in the major leagues. He gives up a run on 2 hits. Gets a nice curtain call from the Philly fans and his teammates. 15 years of waiting and lobbying. He finally gets to pitch. And a great moment here in Philadelphia.
I think he should have went to the soft stuff a little earlier.
7-2 Phillies. Ichiro gets to tell everybody about it, and Chuck Hernandez, the pitching coach, is over, and of course he wants to debrief Ichiro after his major league debut on the mound.
If there's any question about how much they like that guy, look at that. Look at that group of standing around there.
That is really something. And for a guy like Conley, who grew up in the state of Washington, watching Ichiro win 10 Gold Gloves, go to 10 All-Star teams, win an MVP, batting titles, all of a sudden, here's Conley playing on the same team as Ichiro, and now Ichiro has pitched in the same game as Conley. That has to blow his mind.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, well, I'd like to see Casey get a hit right here, get his average over 200 for the season. Because even though it's not much of a difference, it makes a difference. You have that 200.
Chuck, Jose, Ichiro. What a day this has been. D. Gordon is going to win a batting title with 3 hits. Christian Yelich is going to hit 300. And Ichiro has pitched an inning.
I am content with my day. To see what we've seen, just to be a part of it, really special.
It doesn't look like the Marlins are going to win this ball game, but at this point, who cares?
Yeah. You know what? And it's a situation where you feel good about the Phillies because they don't have that 100-loss season. You know, and you gotta find pride in certain things, and to not be labeled as a 100-loss team that's going to mean something to the Phillies.
Our end of the season rollout is really fun, and it will be at the end of Marlins Live post game. It's coming up right after the ball game here. I don't know if there's time to put any Ichiro on the mound in there, but you had a chance to see it live.
I mean, it looked like he's been practicing.
He had. Look, I'm telling you, I saw him in Seattle. I've seen him here. He's been preparing that 15 years. That's 15 years in the making. He's been preparing for this day. And he worked on Lou Piniella. He worked on Bob Melvin. He worked on Eric Wedge. He worked on Joe Girardi. He worked on Mike Redmond.
Well, I think what worked against him was when he's in the prime of his career, nobody wants to take that chance of something happening to Ichiro.
Without question. Without question. And now here he is in the twilight of his career. And Dan Jennings grants that wish to Ichiro. That may be the last act for Dan Jennings as a manager in this short-lived tenure as a major league manager, and his last act is to give Ichiro one of his greatest wishes.
Well, you know, what do you give a man in baseball who has done pretty much everything? That's got to be it for Ichiro. You know, I mean, to be able to let him go on the mound, do something that he's dreamed of doing, that's a very nice gesture from Dan Jennings.
Phillies trying to end this and prevent a 100-loss season. And the Marlins have come to Philadelphia and gotten what they were looking for. The Marlins were looking for a batting title for D. Gordon, a stolen base title for D. Gordon, the hit title for D. Gordon. He has all 3 of those things. Christian Yelich went off yesterday. He finishes the year at 300. The Marlins win another series. They've won 8 of their last 10 series this season. There's a strike to Rojas. And to top it all off, Ichiro got to pitch an inning. Two-2 pitch. Up the middle, into center. Rojas isn't done yet, as he's got a 2-out single. Just a quick peek around baseball before we leave you and head to Marlins Live. The Texas Rangers look like they're ready to win the West. Now remember, the Angels had that miraculous comeback. They're going to have to do it again. 9-2, Texas leads over the Angels in the bottom of the 7th. Texas wins that game. They'll win the West, and it will put Houston into the postseason as the second wild card. Houston's trailing Arizona 3-2. The Yankees are losing 7-2 to Baltimore. That's bottom 6. That one fouls at the plate. That score is meaningless if Houston loses. If Houston wins and the Yankees lose, then Houston not only is in, but they get home field in that wild card game against the Yankees. Neither New York team is finishing well, although the Mets do have a run and lead 1-0 in the top of the ninth. Curtis Granderson has hit a solo shot, and of course Bryce Harper is 0 for 3 in that ball game. He's hitting at .329. He's on deck right now in the ninth inning. Donovan Solano with 2 outs here. One and two. '15 is over. The Marlins lose this ball game, but this game will long be remembered for D. Gordon, who came out smoking with a double, a homer, a single, and captured a National League batting championship. That was the start of the game. At the end of the game, a Hall of Famer gets a long wish finally granted as Ichiro pitches an inning. The Phillies win the ball game, the Marlins win the series, and 2015 is officially closed. Remember, our super year-end rollout is coming up. Music, highlights, fun, frivolity, all of that. Big moments as well on Marlins Live. Marlins Baseball on Fox Sports Florida is brought to you by your South Florida Honda dealers. For my producer, John Solser, my director, Gary Nicholas, graphics coordinator, Kenny Lee. For Tommy Hutton, who's not here today, for Preston Wilson, who did a fine job, and for Jessica Blaylock, I'm Rich Waltz. We'll see you on Marlins Live in a moment.